seeing as how I was keeping the aura thing active, is hers fluctuating in any way, or is it very steady?
As soon as you focus your attention looking at her aura, you see a blank space surrounding her and a display pop up on your HUD that asks for a password.
Are you kidding?
She raises an eyebrow and says, I never joke about interrogations or debriefs. This is a bit of both.
I just roll my eyes. What is all this posturing?
I have an intake of breath, but I turn my face towards the wall.
The elevator doors ding, and she says, please head on down to the third door to your right. I'll be right there. I just need to go grab a interface. She walks down the opposite direction.
Come on, let's get this done with.
I'm sulking as I go towards the third door, but under my breath, I'm just like, I can do that too. Not fancy.
Sorry, Agent Smith, what was that all about?
You know how I was using my contacts to read people's emotions earlier?
Mm-hmm.
It asked me for a password when I tried to look at her.
Oh, I see. Well, I suppose you simply don't have clearance. This is not new to the organization we're working for.
Why were you trying to read her aura?
Wanted to see if she was lying. I don't like unknowns.
Don't worry, standard procedure. Debrief.
You are full of surprises, Agent.
Once you go back in, it's basically a exact duplicate. Or when you step in the room, it's an exact duplicate of the conference room you met Kavanaugh in earlier. Same arrangement, same chairs, same places. You see a device, only difference. Each seat at the table has a device that looks like almost a set of handlebars that curves up so that you can hold them with your palms facing in toward one another, and the bottom of your hand parallel with the desk, the top of the desk. And the backs of the chairs have what for all the world look like salon hair dryers on them.
Is there anything that... am I familiar with this procedure?
You can do intelligence hypertech.
3 successes.
Yeah, you recognize the devices, as a matter of fact. They are called MARCs. They are MARCCs, Mnemonic Access Recollection Collation Chambers. Basically, what they will do is, when you sit down in them, you'll grab the handles, the caps will go over your head. She will begin to ask you questions, and they will create a virtual reality map of your day.
Okay. I'm familiar with that, and it doesn't seem like anything strange then.
Yeah, I'm heading over as... just after taking the room in, I'll be heading over to sit down in one, but waiting for her to come in and start the procedure.
How about Dr. Barros?
Well, I'm not familiar with these devices, I would assume, so I will remain standing for now, arms crossed, a little bit apprehensive to this entire situation.
Right, she walks back in, and the device that she went to get is a pair of goggles that has about 14 lenses on different lengths of like wire sticking out of each side, so that each lens can be like slid down into place in front of the goggles. And she's kind of strapping it to her forehead as she walks in. She sits at the far end of the table and says, "Okay, agents, shall we proceed?"
Let's get this done.
What exactly are we doing?
Please have a seat. We're going to reconstruct your day.
Oh, I see.
It's a quick, painless virtual debrief. I'll ask you a few questions to sort of guide things, and we'll be recording your responses.
Of course. I sit down and strap myself in, as it were.
I'm sitting down in the third chair.
All right, you all sit down, get into place. She begins asking you questions, starting with the very mundane and building to granular detail about various different sort of aspects of it. Are you being completely open? Is there anything that you wanted to try to conceal or alter about your story or your remembrance? Is there something that you don't want to share?
Well, she's only asking us about our field operation, correct? She's not asking about anything previously to that?
Nope. Yeah, she starts it with, so you left this morning at 9:15 a.m.
No, I'd be happy to let her know anything that we've done today. Being completely compliant, just trying to, do my job so we can get out of here.
Following procedure, I will comply as well.
I'm fascinated by this device, and it does tickle my scientist bone. So I am going to try to essentially present more or less exactly what happened, but I'm going to try to completely replace the bossa nova with my taste in music and see if I can do that, if it actually catches.
Sure. Anything else that you're omitting? Are you going to share the details about the paradox backlash? Share the details about the interrogation? Share the details of your conversation in the car on the way here?
Well, it's like if she's asking for this, for those kinds of things, I would say what I remember, but they are things that I would brush past.
Okay, so there are things that you would omit unless specifically asked.
Yeah, mostly because I don't think they're important to the case.
She does ask you a lot of mundane details about the taste of your sandwich, the smell of the air when you were in the park. So, I mean, she does dial down into some pretty granular things. She does ask you about the procedures that you used and if there were any side effects. She does not specifically call it a paradox backlash, but she does ask if there were side effects with any of the procedures.
Any descriptions, I just bark out, like one adjective each. Like, how was the air? Hot. How was that? Cucumber sandwich? Tasty. And so on.
After about your 7th monosyllabic answer, she says, Agent Johnson, you're walking down the beach and you see a tortoise on its back. And it's panicking. What are you going to do?
I'm going to stop and consider whether a tortoise is actually native to a beach climate.
Spoken like a true black suit. Doesn't even know a joke when it jumps up across an interrogation and bites them. All right, continue.
To be fair, it's an old movie.
I don't get it.
Of course you don't. When the interrogation's done and you've wrapped up your case, Agent Smith, you should take the time to watch Blade Runner. It's a classic.
I look a bit confused. Oh yeah. Did I answer correctly?
Sure. Let us continue. She continues asking questions, being very frustrated with the monosyllabic responses, but nothing she's not used to from black suits. And Angela, are you, aside from changing the bossa nova, are there any other details that you're trying to omit or change?
I'm being the exact opposite. I'm being very descriptive. In a sense, you can almost imagine that I'm trying to overload the virtual reality that's being created by just being extremely detailed, as much as I can remember, about everything from the sound of footsteps to the crinkle of leaves, the amount of pebbles I could see. Obviously, I can't count that, but I'm being very descriptive, and I'm obviously not hiding anything. I see no reason to be discreet about my opinions about the professionalism of my current superior. I've gotten into trouble before, and I really don't care. I'm here to save humanity. I'm not here to kiss boots.
And Agent Smith?
I'm being as descriptive as I can be, giving information that I feel will be useful, but I'm also going into extraneous detail about the new things that I've come into contact with. So, like, the smell of the flowers I happened to sneak a smell of while we were searching for things in the woods, or the taste of the sandwich, what kind of hot sauce I used. If she asks me about the backlash of any procedures that we used, all I'm going to state is that I made more coffee.
The entire interrogation process takes probably about 20 minutes or so. Once that's done, she says, "Thank you very much for your cooperation, agents. I greatly appreciate it. We'll be seeing you soon. You may continue with your investigation."
Thank you. Thank you.
Are we free to go to the 3rd floor now?
Absolutely. She takes the goggles off and rubs her eyes as if they're sore, and she says, "Yeah, just watch Blade Runner, Agent Smith. You'll enjoy it."
I'll add it to my list. I actually keep a list in my pocket. So I pull out a tiny notebook and I write it down.
You can read the Spark Notes. It's pretty much the same experience.
I start heading towards the elevator. I look deep in thought as if I'm trying to recollect the film. I don't remember any tortoises in Blade Runner.
It's a hypothetical presented to distinguish whether an individual is a synthetic or not.
Oh yeah, the eye test. The eye test.
I'm looking back and forth between you two, and I have no idea what you're talking about, and it shows on my face.
I would offer both of you to have a movie night, but honestly, I can't stomach that movie. It's far too long, it's dull, and nothing happens in it.
The doors open to the elevator. You step out on the 3rd floor. Kavanaugh is standing outside the conference room looking down the hallway. So hold up.
Yeah, well, we were asked to do a debrief.
Asked to do a debrief.
Yeah, in the
Davenport?
basement.
Awesome. She make shitty Blade Runner jokes? Come on in and have a seat. Sits down.
I come in. I feel like I'm smiling a bit now at this. It's absurd. Sorry to keep you waiting. I just assumed that it would have been communicated.
Oh, no, it's fine. I'm sure everything's all right. Listen, you may have...
Yeah.
I don't know how much you got briefed on your way in here, but we do things a little different here in Rockford. All right? We don't particularly... We don't like to engage RDs in a hard case scenario. We find that we get a lot more mileage out of kindness than we do out of bullets.
You want to send him a flyer of, have you heard about the Union?
Listen, here's the reality of the situation, okay? Taylor is an asset. I'm trying to get my hands on, come to an agreement with somebody that's a little bit higher up in his organization.
Well, go on then. What is this?
There's a group of reality deviants known as the Cult of Ecstasy. Have you ever heard of them?
Have I?
What's your occult? Or RD data?
No, I don't have any occult.
I have RD data.
Go ahead and roll intelligence RD data.
3 successes.
Oh yeah, you know exactly what the Cult of Ecstasy is. The Cult of Ecstasy is one of the Council of 9 mystic traditions, commonly referred to as the traditions or superstitionists. They are magic-using reality deviants, MURDs, who tend to focus on time manipulation, though many of them are also known to practice life. And they tend to focus on the use of drugs and ecstatic experiences as their means of performing reality deviance.
I'm gonna state this out loud.
Very good. Somebody did their sleep teacher homework.
Not that I have much of a choice.
Traditions. Are we talking about these so-called quotation mark mages? He's one of those?
That's correct.
And you're saying he's an asset?
I am.
I was under the assumption that these were dangerous individuals who are flagrantly altering reality around themselves with no regard to the lives of unenlightened individuals. And you're saying he's an asset?
I'm saying that I have bigger concerns than him, and he is a way toward those concerns.
I see. You are aware that this is a man who mauled a woman for seemingly no reason, presumably.
Well, if he's an informant into a bigger organization, it makes sense to let something slip.
So you're saying, according to your theory, he turned into a bear and mauled this woman.
Well, when you put it that way, it sounds ridiculous, but...
There were clear indications of, well, taking on the forms, or shape-shifting, if you will. The bear tracks turned into human tracks, which later on adopted webbed feet, as they disappeared into a river. I know how strange that might sound, but with some life manipulation, perhaps it could be possible.
Oh yeah, it definitely sounds possible. And do you have, I guess my question then would be, do you have a way of tying him specifically to this?
Only that he showed up just before it happened. And that he was barefoot. I try to make a pun.
DNA samples, blood, anything like that?
Sure. I look over to the doctor.
Yes, we did manage to retrieve a few samples of his DNA. It is quite possible that he's capable of manipulating his morphological field, so... This is... I present the data we had, which I suppose should be in the databases of the Technocracy already, since we used our phones to do the checking.
Well, yeah, just airdrop it to me, would you?
Yes, of course.
Pops open his phone and starts typing.
I proceed to give him the information.
Well, hell, yeah, looks like it's a match. All right. Well, that does change things up a little bit. Tell you what, before we get too far into this, do you have a real problem with working alongside of the of a reality deviant in the event that it leads us to the greater good? Doctor, is that something you're not able to stomach?
Mr. Albright, far be it for me to make that kind of judgment. You are the construct manager. If it is your decision that we will be working alongside these reality deviants, I will simply do as you ask.
It's good to know. Yeah, I mean, if he's running around carving up, co-eds, we probably can't be having that happen. That's a little bit, it's a bridge too far for an asset. And what I'm after, I got a feeling they'll understand. So, you said you have a location on this fella?
Yeah, we have an approximate location, and with him most likely be showing up tonight at the Aldine Park on Alpine.
So we're talking a public engagement.
If I may, I believe I might have not been entirely fair in my assessments. He did seem to be in shock after he did this deed, and the person is not actually dead. So, presumably, we don't need to conduct the most extreme of repercussions.
What I think we have here is a possible high school crush turned obsessive. He was trying to invite the subject into a gathering there in the Aldine Park, and she refused, possibly made a fool of him, and then later I assume that he took on this shape to do some spying on her, never intending to engage in a violent confrontation. That is my theory.
Pretty solid theory. So, alright, agents, let's run this scenario. He's going to be at a party. That party is going to be in a public place. There's going to be witnesses, bystanders. People might get caught in a crossfire. You say you are not 100% convinced that he was acting out of malice so much as maybe out of emotional distress, possibly exacerbated by who knows what the hell he was on. What's procedure? What do we do here?
Well, my if I may, my logical idea here would be that we do not confront him in such an such a place or such a context. Better if we have a physical address, or even better, other ways of contacting him, that we do that more privately. I mean, there's no time limit on this, is there? It's not like this is hanging over our heads that we think that he's gonna go and assault other people and shift it into other shapes.
I mean, do you? You tell me. Do you think he's gonna flip out and, think he's gonna go to this party tonight and carve up the next girl says no to him?
When I ran a scan on him earlier, he was frightened, primarily.
Okay, well, frightened dog doesn't necessarily mean it won't bite.
It's possible that his alteration of his biomass may have incidentally caused a momentary loss of cognitive functions. There have been reports, I've read some rather interesting research files saying that the morphological field also alters a person's cognitive functions, essentially, meaning that he might have not been entirely in control of his faculties at the time.
You think he's turning feral? You think these are lasting consequences?
That is really not something I could make a conclusion out of right now, but I do believe that if he is not a master of his art, once again using the quotation marks, it's quite likely that he might have bitten off more than he could chew, so to speak.
So how about this then? We attend the gathering, but at a distance, and we observe the situation as it goes.
Sounds fair to me.
I don't see there would be much of an issue with that. We will kind of stand out with our suits.
Well, we don't need to get that close, do we?
Do say let's say he does flip out. Let's say he does attack someone there. What then?
Well, then we'll have to intervene, I guess. Bring him in.
Girl's got a point. You'd be intervening in front of a whole crowd of people. Do you have a start time for this shindig?
All we know is it was tonight, this evening.
Well, evening's probably about 3 hours away by my reckoning, so he hits a button on his phone. I just airdropped you Taylor's last known residence. I want you to go in gently. I want you to try to defuse the situation, bring him in for a conversation. We need to get to the bottom of this, figure out what's wrong, figure out if we can help him.
Of course.
I am going to work with the other assets that I have established in that little organization, see if I can keep the heat from them off of our shoulders so that we can deal with this effectively. Having said that, here's going to be your recommended force, okay? I want you to go in nice, and if he's an asshole to you, I want you to still be nice. I want you to bring him in nice. But if he endangers you or endangers any sleepers, you just put him down, and you put him down fast.
Understood.
Understood.
Sure that's all right with you, Doctor?
Yes, of course.
Good. Get to work. Stop by requisitions on your way out if you need to. You leave Kavanaugh's office. You have the address to where Taylor was last known to be staying.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's be nice, like he said.
You gonna stop and pick anything up on your way down?
I think over standard protocol, what would be good in order to possibly bring him down as quickly as possible if I need to? Because now I only have my Biggs X5 Model R Protector, which is a bit of a gun, I suppose.
It is a gun.
So maybe, well, is there anything in particular that would be good or effective against this type of being?
I mean, at the end of the day, MURDs are humans that they're just like a technocrat, you know?
Yeah.
So if you had to drop him, the gun would do it as long as you hit him.
Let's acquire some non-lethal ammunition and anything else you would need from.
Yeah, absolutely. I do believe that approaching with a silenced weapon is the best alternative, as these kind of MURDs are most likely, if he's capable of altering his physiology to this extent, if that is the case, then his ability to shrug off poisoning or things like that would similarly be enhanced as well. I believe that's a theory, working theory.
So we do that. I'll get a silencer and some non-lethal ammunition.
I would like to acquisition the same.
Yeah, that's no problem. They happily hand it over. So you head to the address. Are you doing anything specific upon approach?
To make this as non-menacing as possible, maybe we shouldn't approach all three of us? What do you suggest?
Well, seeing as how I'm not very good with people, I can probably stay behind and act as backup in case things go wrong.
Do we know if this, what's his name, Taylor Price, if he lives alone?
According to the intelligence that you have, because he sent you the address, he also sent you like a real basic workup of the dossier they have on him. According to the dossier, his house is a farmhouse that's on the very edge of the Harlem Hills Nature Preserve, right kind of at the border of Loves Park and Rockford. It's relatively secluded, and it's surrounded by a vine-covered trellis. It goes kind of over the top of it, most of the property. It kind of forms a tunnel. There's a lot of... The outside is also surrounded by a wall that is noted for having several living vines on it. Generally, he's known to keep multiple associates at the house. Intelligence assumes that the majority of these are cultists, as in with a lowercase c, not an uppercase cult of ecstasy c. So, like sympathizers, people who buy into his view.
Then any attempt to take him down would, of course, elicit a response from those individuals. I still believe that, Agent Smith, your idea to stay behind and provide some manner of backup would be the most appropriate use of your talents.
I could stay by the car and make sure that he doesn't get away. If others, the sympathizers, then try to leave, I will let them go. Not seeking to cause unnecessary damage.
Yeah, and you can give us any kind of communication if something out here happens, if you see something that we should know. Yeah, good. And once again, I'd like to do the subtle manipulation of mind, if I can, to appear more agreeable or forthcoming.
Sure, go ahead and give me Enlightenment, difficulty 5.
It's 2 successes.
Any other effects anyone wants to kick off?
Do I know anything about this cult of ecstasy? Do they have any kind of mind-altering capabilities?
Specifically, his profile does not list any proficiency with mind. Says that he is well-versed in time and life, and that he also is known to apply forces from time to time. Knowing what you know about the life sphere, the fact that the place is literally crawling and covered with living plants might be a cause for some concern.
Yeah, this is certainly not playing it carefully. So I'm considering my options, but right at the moment I do have my my traveling case of chemical components, my field laboratory, as it were, with me.
Agent Smith, any preparations for you?
Do you voice your concerns about the plants?
Yes, I do. I said this is certainly a blatant display of what would we call it? Enlightened technology.
If that's the case, it could be cause for concern. It could potentially cause us to get separated if anything happens and it's cut off. I can stay as close to the house as possible, but outside. 1,000,001 different possibilities are going through my mind right now, and I'm trying to think of a good plan.
Well, I don't think the first thing he would do is just to resort to absolute violence. We're going to ask nicely, and if he's nasty, we'll ask nicely again, and there's no saying that we need to take immediate action unless, of course, he attacks first.
Quick question about the device that I'm holding, the one that looks like a pen. Does it do exactly what I think it does?
It does exactly what you think it does.
Alright, cool.
Indeed, Agent Johnson. Keep in mind that this individual was described as being scared, highly agitated, most likely. So the friendly approach would seem the most reasonable one. If he is one of our assets, it would be prudent, perhaps, to raise the issue that we might want to debrief him regarding something else.
They wouldn't send newbies into a fight, after all.
Of course not. We are, after all, working with professionals.
And I give an assuring look to Primrose as I open the car door and get out.
All right, you pull up to the house. As you pull in, you do drive past like a half a block of, it's a fairly large property. And you can see that the entirety of the exterior wall of the property, about 8 feet high brick wall, completely covered with vines. You barely see pieces of brick sticking out through it.
Quick question for you regarding the property as we're driving up to it. I do have time 1. Am I able to see if there's been any fluctuation or alteration to it on the property?
Absolutely. Go ahead and give me a enlightenment roll at difficulty 4.
3 successes.
As you look it over, much to your surprise, there does not appear to be any time procedures, any evidence time procedures whatsoever on the property.
Okay, just wanted to make sure we weren't going to be walking into a time bubble or something.
Right, walk into a time loop.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a good thing to look out for. No, it does strike you as odd with what you know of the cult of ecstasy, though.
Yeah, I'm going to voice that to the others as we're driving up, but it's good that we don't have anything to worry about out here.
You pull up a circular driveway. In the center of the circular driveway is a very large rose bush that's about 8 feet tall, probably 10 feet wide, and just filled with blooms, of several different colors, in fact. And the house itself looks like it's probably late 18th century construction that's been repurposed and upgraded. There's also vines growing up the house, all over the house, effectively.
I snag one of the colorful flowers and put it in my case as we are approaching the building.
Is it normal to have that many different colored flowers?
I don't know what, in terms of normal, you would be expecting. But no, a rose bush would normally not have that many flowers. I realize that she wouldn't know what normal is. That was a genuine question.
Are you, just so that I'm clear, are all 3 of you going to the door, or is Primrose staying at the car?
I'm not going to stay specifically at the car. I'm going to stay outside near the house. I'm going to see where it goes. If they get invited in, I'll go. I don't know. What do you guys think? Should I stay outside the house, or should I... Because I can stay by the door.
Yeah, I mean, I would either have you just in the car, like you initially said, and use your phone to use the various cameras on the car and the system to measure any activity, what's going on here, and be ready to act if we need backup, or let us know anything that happens inside.
I can do that easily enough.
If you would agree.
Keep your cameras on your phones on.
Of course.
All right, so are you going to use an effect to try to look inside the house then?
I'll use correspondence, if possible, to get a feel for the amount of people in the home.
So yeah, you can use correspondence to... You literally have line of sight on the house, so you can use correspondence to start looking inside if you wish.
I'm gonna pull up my own phone camera. Basically, it's gonna have like a AR view that just brings up heat signatures.
Okay, that's fair. Go ahead and give me a enlightenment roll at difficulty 5.
2 successes.
Okay. You do spot 3 what you're assuming are people inside the building. 2 of them are in a room that is just off of the front door, so it looks like maybe there's a foyer when you first go in, and then like a den. And there are 2 of them in the den, and one of them is in a horizontal position, like near the back of the house.
It looks like 2 are in the front area of the home. 1 is in the back, horizontal, unsure if sleeping or not. So there's 3 altogether that I can see at the moment.
Very good.
You get up to the door.
Yeah. And I look, is there a doorbell or?
There's a doorbell.
I ring it.
Guy comes to the door. Looks like he's Mexican, probably about 5'8", heavy set. He's wearing a bandana, hockey jersey, and black jorts. He says, "I know you."
I take my glasses off. Is this our guy or?
No, you have a photo of him. That your guy's a skinny white kid with red hair and freckles.
Good afternoon. We're here to meet Taylor.
He expecting you?
We have some urgent things to discuss.
Yeah, who are you with?
Biological Institute for Innovative Plant Research.
Sure. He goes, "You got any credentials?"
I'll do the flashing the badge standard.
Give me an enlightenment roll, difficulty of 5.
Primrose is in the car, crossing her fingers, because she's seen people do that for luck.
And you're still watching the inside of the building, right?
Yes.
You see the person that's in the front, like, reach under whatever they're sitting on.
I'm going to say that into the earpiece. You got one person pulling out something from where they're sitting. Please be careful.
I hear that, and I roll 2 successes.
Yeah, he goes, "Oh, okay. I'll get Taylor 1 second."
Thank you.
Yeah. "Yo, Taylor, there's some suits out front." He steps away, and you can see through your correspondence view, Primrose, that he sort of like waves the dude to put down whatever he was picking up. He sits back down. And Taylor comes walking up to the front door. And he sort of stops when he's back from the door about 6 feet or so.
I'm a surprise. Thank you. And I introduce myself as Stanley Smith. We wanted to know if you had time to talk a bit.
I'm an atheist, but thanks for coming by.
No, this is about an acquaintance of yours.
Oh, yeah?
That we believe you had a recent interaction with. A Christine Davis.
His eyes go wide, and I would like you all to roll 1d10 add it to your wits plus dex, please.
I got 10 altogether.
12.
14, but I'm in the car.
That's all right. You're still able to see what's going on. So with a 14, you will have the first initiative, Agent Smith. Give me a perception awareness roll, because you are looking at this through correspondence.
5 successes.
Oh, yeah. You clearly see that he has a ring on his finger that has like a sharp sort of almost like a blade on the end of it, right? And he spins it around. He's spinning it around to like cut his thumb with it.
Okay, that's not good. And I'm gonna get out of the car and rush towards the house. I'm not sure if I can get there in the time.
You get out of the car and are able to get at least so you have a line of sight on him and still act.
Oh, great. I'm gonna shoot him with a taser shot.
Give me a dexterity plus firearms, please.
3 successes.
All right, so he still takes 5 points of damage. As you see, he does like get hit in the shoulder with it, and he drops to the ground, and he's kind of shivering and shaking and gritting his teeth, but he's still trying to get that sharp part of the ring. Now he's trying to like smack it on his other hand. And that does bring us then to you're next, Devin. What would you like to do?
This is going so fast, I'm not even thinking of what's going on. As one bullet whizzes by me and hits him and he goes down on the floor, my gun is also out in my hand and ready to pacify him as well.
All right, so are you just holding it and holding your shot, or are you going to go ahead and put one in him?
I'm gonna shout, "Don't move! We're here to talk!"
Excellent. Give me a manipulation intimidation. Your difficulty for this is going to be 3 due to the fact that he's been tased and you have also used mind procedures to make yourself to increase your emotional effectiveness.
That's 2 successes. 1 is a 10.
He grits his teeth and continues bringing that hand down. What would you like to do, Angela?
Seeing as this is quickly going to hell in a handbasket, I am going to try to basically throw together a bunch of chemicals and create tear gas and chuck it into the building.
Okay.
So I have a couple of chemical components. Obviously, this is going to be jerry-rigged, since I don't have tear gas lying around. Would I be able to do that with? Oh God, no, I don't have any matter, so that wouldn't work. Would I be able to create something like that with life, or would that?
Well, what you could do is you could mix together a chemical concoction and toss it in there. That would act as your focus for a life attack. Now, do you want this to be bashing? Are you trying to go for lethal? Are you trying to go for aggravated damage? What's your...
Bashing.
Okay.
Bashing. I'm not trying to kill anyone.
You can certainly do that with... it'll be life 3, and it will be coincidental because you're throwing a bunch of chemicals at him.
Perfect. So, I'm rolling. What's the target number for difficulties?
It'll be 6.
All right. That is 0 successes. Not a botch, though.
No botch? All right, very good. You throw a bunch of chemicals in the room, and nothing really happens. It doesn't react. Maybe you mixed them wrong. And he jams that blade into his hand, the sharp ring into his hand. And as the blood leaves his hand, the vines on the outside of the building spring to life. And they spit spores into your faces. And these spores are going to require you to make stamina.
1 success.
2 successes.
3 successes.
At 1 success, Angela, you suffer 4 levels of bashing damage.
Oh dear.
And you take an additional -1 penalty aside from your wounds to any perception or dexterity rolls that you make.
I'm wounded as well, so that is -3 to that.
For you got 2 successes, Primrose. You take 3 levels of bashing damage, and suffer a -1 to your perception and dexterity based pools. And at 3 successes, you take 2 bashing damage, Devin, and suffer 1 additional penalty to perception and dexterity based pools. The 2 guys that were in the back hop up. One of them kind of like reaches around the corner and just sort of spray and prays with an AK-47.
What?
Oh dear.
The other one like grabs Taylor like by his collar and starts dragging him down the hallway as he's still sort of like twitching. You're fairly certain activating that effect was probably the last bit of any gumption that he had in any sort of fashion. But we're going to go for a spray and pray here. All right, so that is 1 success. Each of you can roll your stamina plus armor.
0. No, that's a botch for me.
You take 3 lethal as you catch a bullet in the stomach.
Remind me, does that mean that I feel unlethal from the top, or do I just add that to the wounds I already have?
Right, so you fill in lethal from the top, but it pushes your bashing down.
Oh boy, I am incapacitated. I'm knocked out.
Excellent. So you see Primrose, as you're, like, I assume still moving as you're coming up close.
Yeah.
You feel a wet splatter on your face as you see Dr. Barros grab her stomach and like fall over, and blood start to pool on her back.
Shit.
4 successes.
5 for me.
All right, you're fine. You get tagged in the shoulder by a bullet, but the suit stops it. You got 4 successes.
Yeah.
You get shot right in the tie, and you look down and your tie holds. Primrose, what would you like to do?
Question, do I have any sort of medical training or ability to staunch a wound of any kind?
Do you have any dots in medicine or life?
No and no.
This is not what you were trained to do.
No, it is not. So I'm going to do the one thing I am trained to do, and I'm going to shoot for... Am I still able to see the person that's been trying to drag Taylor?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You have a very clear shot of them. In fact, they are looking at you.
Great. I'm going to shoot him.
Are you still using non-lethal ordnance?
Yes, because we were told to be nice.
Go ahead and roll. Your difficulty is going to be 4 because he's dragging another human being, so he's not very spry.
That is going to be... Oh, all 4 of them are successes.
So you shoot dude in his face, and he falls on the ground twitching, peeing himself. And that brings us to Devin.
I try to quickly assess the situation with these flowers. Was this a sort of one thing, or are they all crawling to life trying to do things?
No, they seem to be pouring out an ongoing flow of spores. Oh yeah, at the end of your turn, I need you to make another stamina roll, Primrose.
2 successes.
All right, you suffer 3 more bashing. So yeah, you're starting to get sicker by being close to these spores. Devin, what would you like to do?
Grab Angela and get out.
All right, so you grab Angela and start pulling her back. Give me a strength and athletics roll, please.
It's 2 successes.
Excellent. Yeah, you're backing her out of the way. You will need to make one more stamina roll because you aren't going to get clear of the spores until the end of your turn.
2 successes.
So you take 3 more bashing.
Oof.
Angela.
Yes.
You are incapacitated, right?
That is correct.
But you're only incapacitated with bashing?
That is correct. I have 3 points of lethal and 4 points of bashing.
So you're a mage, and you're a life mage.
That's correct.
So you can spend a point of willpower to ignore your wound penalties for 1 turn.
I am definitely going to do that.
And use a life procedure if you so choose.
I will do so. I am going to essentially dig out one of my experimental nano machine syntheskins to essentially both try to patch up the bullet wounds, as well as initiate regenerative effects in my body.
You can do that. It is vulgar as shit.
Oh yeah, but I don't care right now. So
right on. You may take 2 points of paradox for vulgar.
That is fine. May I use some of my quintessence? Oh, sorry, primal energy, whichever or.
Up to your genius in each turn. Yeah.
I have 2 genius, so I'm gonna use both of mine.
Excellent. So that will make your difficulty a 6.
Am I able to use another point of willpower, or was that the one I can use this turn?
No, you only get to use 1
Gotcha.
turn. So.
That is 1. No, that is a 1 and an 8. So I think that 1 cancels out the 8, right?
The 1 does cancel out the 8.
That is 0 successes.
You take 2 points of paradox for doing
Yep.
it. And 1 point of paradox for each dot in the highest sphere involved. So that's 5 paradox. You all start to feel the weight of reality come crashing down upon you. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Primrose, your paradox goes to 0. Devin, your paradox goes to 0. Angela, you may reduce your paradox by 2.
Right. Still at 3.
The good news is that 2 of the 3 hostiles are unconscious. The third one is presently unwounded, and you are currently suffering a paradox backlash. You have an option. Any one of you may spend a point of willpower, except for, ironically, Angela, because you already spent one, to stave this backlash off till the end of the scene.
I will. I feel it coming, and I will the universe with a giant nope.
And I assume you have backed up as well now that you're all out of that cloud.
As long as I still have a line of sight on the last one?
You do.
Okay,
absolutely.
then yes.
All right, Primrose, what would you like to do with your action then?
Shoot the last one.
All right, very good. Go ahead and give me a dexterity firearm.
2 successes, no ones.
All right, you catch him in the shoulder, and he takes 7, and he drops unconscious.
Is there anyone else that we need to be worried about besides those 3 that are now unconscious on their floor?
No, there doesn't seem to be. And the flowers stop writhing and sort of spitting spores. They clear almost immediately from the air.
I lean over the wounded Angela, and I'm looking over at Primrose. Shit, is there something you can do?
I'm gonna pull out my phone and call Kavanaugh.
Okay. Yeah.
So he attacked us with spores and stuff. He's unconscious on his floor. And we got an agent down. We need someone with medical experience to get here as soon as possible.
Of course, your doctor got shot. Yeah, well, I'll have a CCC crew there in 5 minutes.
Wonderful.
Good shooting, Primrose.
Sorry he shot first, I guess. This is after I hung up, but I'm going over and just hovering over Angela. But there's nothing I can do.
I was going to say, you can make an intelligence roll to see if you can at least apply pressure to the wound and things along those lines.
I'm going to assume that this wound, that my last energy was spent basically trying to patch myself up, but it failed. So I'm out. I'm out cold.
7, 9, and 10. So that's 3 successes.
I get 2 successes.
Excellent. You both sort of roll her up onto one side, and Primrose, you take the back, holding that wound pressurized, and you take the front, Jax, Devin, and you start to hold the wound, and there's blood sort of oozing out between your fingers, but you're definitely slowing the bleeding quite a bit. The CCC team shows up. They go inside and zip tie the deviants, put them in the back of a black van, and take them to HQ for processing. A ambulance collects the doctor. Are either of you going to ride with the doctor?
Yeah, sure. I'll that is if Primrose is gonna take the car back.
I'll follow in the car.
Yeah.
All right. You start following the car. Doctor.
Yes.
You start to regain consciousness in the back of the ambulance.
Oh, I really wish I wasn't conscious right now. This is really bad.
Still. You'll be okay.
Did we get him?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
We got him. We're getting you back.
All right, that didn't really go like we planned.
You start to both feel the weight of reality staved off too long start to hit you.
All right, brace for impact, I guess.
Yeah.
Give me a stamina roll, please, Angela.
Oh boy, all right. That is 1 success, a 10.
How much paradox did you have left in your pattern?
3.
All right, you take 2 bashing.
All right, I'm already full on the health chart, so...
So what happens is the bashing you have converts to lethal.
All right, so that means I have 5 lethal, 2 bashing left. Oof.
You see on the other side of Angela's body, exactly symmetrical to where her bullet wound is, another bullet wound open. You also see the IVs that the EMTs have put into her start pumping backwards as blood starts to fill the bags up.
Shit. I feel this is all swirling around us, and I'm trying to do something. I'm trying to reverse this, or to work with the machines, whatever I can do, even with my forces, with my spheres. But I don't know.
You gonna use forces?
No, I just have one dot in forces. I don't think I can do something with that. Can I?
Yeah, you can't really affect it. You can look at it and see what's causing it.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Go ahead and give me an enlightenment roll. This is going to be vulgar with witnesses, though.
Okay, so maybe I can just mechanically try and fix the machines or whatever. Yeah.
Well, I'll give you this much. When you feel the weight of reality as you start to adjust your senses, it automatically clicks with you like this is a paradox effect. And your chances of doing anything about it are slim to none. The best you can hope for is to keep her stable and alive until you get somewhere where she can get medical attention and this effect wears off.
Yeah. So at first, you whatever consciousness you have left, you see me start obviously reacting to things and panic, but then I'm trying to I look away and I just look into your eyes and I take my hand and put it on your head. I was like, don't worry, just relax, breathe, just stay with me, just stay. Right?
Okay,
I'm here.
I'm trying. This really hurts.
I know.
And the doctor passes out. Primrose.
Yes.
You're driving along, and you feel a spasm in your leg. I need you to roll strength for me real quick, please.
That's no successes.
Despite your best efforts, you feel your foot go from the brake, like, all the way to the floor on the gas.
Oh, no.
As you rear end the ambulance.
Oh, shit.
You lose consciousness. Devin, you lose consciousness. The three of you wake up in a hospital. Sort of like almost, looks like it's kind of like an open ward. You each have like curtains to separate you, and there's a couple other patients in there. But your beds are relatively close to one another. Sitting in the middle is Kavanaugh. He's reading a copy of 1984. Hey, you're up.
Construct manager. What happened? Oh, what happened? And I look around. I see the others there.
Well, near as I can tell, you had a bit of paradox was generated by your procedures.
Yeah. God. I'm sorry.
Nah, I think you learned your lesson. I expect a full report once you're, able to stand up. You're very fortunate. Both of those bullet wounds missed your kidneys, so
yeah,
that's some good news.
Fortunate. That's really good.
He pats you on the leg. You'll be fine in no time. Just wanted to make sure you're all right. Primrose.
Yes, sir.
I think you ought to let Johnson drive from now on.
Yes, sir. I'm learning that. How's Biscuit?
The car? Yeah. It buffed out a few scratches. It's fine. Johnson.
Yeah. Construct manager.
Good call with the non-lethal ordinance.
Thanks, sir.
The reality deviant has been processed and won't be tearing up any young ladies anymore. You all did a good thing.
Feels like it.
Rest up. No good deed goes unpunished. Rest up, agents. There's plenty of work left to be done when you get better.
When do you expect a report?
Yeah, take a day or two. You did get shot a lot in a car accident. And for some reason, every IV we plugged into you was pumping backwards for about a day.
Oh, that's not good.
Well, it's fixed now.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Good work. He nods and walks out, and you hear him say to the nurse as he's leaving, make sure each one of them agents get an extra serving of sherbet tonight. They're goddamn heroes.
What's sherbet?
I look over to you and I say, you'll like it. Think they have Bossa Nova in here?
God, I hope not. I've already used my cheat day this week, too.
I lean back into my bed and I smile to myself, and that's one assignment down.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we played the Chronicle Welcome to the Rock for Mage the Ascension 20th Anniversary Edition and the Technocracy Reloaded supplement. Our storyteller was Travis Legge from Onyx Path Publishing, and we were also joined by the Primogen and Nikita Cake from Devil's Luck Gaming. The music was created by Proto-U and was used with permission from their label, Cryochamber. Visit cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for more futuristic drone. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon, Martin Heuschober, Nastasia Raulerson, Simon Cooper, David, and Julia for their generous support. And we would of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for Cult of Divinity Lost and Coriolis there, as well as get early and raw access to all of our recordings. You can also hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as play Cult with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. Thank you for listening, and see you soon again.